What's up, guys? It's your boy Saymore today. Welcome to Same Mind Self Spice. So today I have a guest for you. Please, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you, Angela. How's it, Angela?
How's it? I love that phrase, how's it? It's so
Yes.
local. Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks, Saymore, for having me. I'm really happy to be here. We met like 2 weeks ago,
yeah. That's a couple of weeks ago.
a
Yeah,
couple of weeks.
yeah,
Was it two,
yeah.
2 weeks?
I
And
think more than that.
it was a book launch of my friend, and you approached me on Instagram and you said, hey,
Yeah,
we should have a conversation. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I want more of. And then now that I'm learning more about you, the fact that you've written a book and
that's
you've
right.
published it in February, I'm so curious about your journey.
Yeah.
So, obviously, firstly, congratulations
Oh,
on
thank
writing
you
this
so much.
book.
It's a whole lot for hard work and like just being persistent, continue doing what you love to do and
Yeah.
all that. And yeah,
What is
that's
it about in one sentence?
well, my book is more about my journey.
Yeah.
It does teach about resilience and of self belief. When you have a self esteem, when you just believe that whatever happened back home and whatever happened in your life, it does not really define you. And I just feel like it was really something important to actually share with people in the world. So especially young people, that's my main goal. Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's such an important message because people so often just identify with the things that happen to them, right? Like, I
That's
am a
right.
trauma survivor, I am an abuse survivor, and then it becomes their whole story instead of what next.
That's
Yeah,
right. I
yeah.
mean, that's amazing. It's just going back to how I actually approached you. I remember on the day when we met, while you were actually interviewing my friend James, and then I was like, I'd love really to have you on the show. But when I tried to approach you, it's like you're in a hurry or like you seem to be like, I tried to grab you. I don't know if you noticed
I
that.
do. I
I was like,
remember.
hi, can I talk to you? But anyway, and
I was
then
rushing out at that point. I was like, I'm so sorry, I gotta go.
exactly. But do you know how I find you on Instagram?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I went on James's profile and I started searching everybody. I'm like, I'm looking for this lady. I
Love
was
your
checking the profile,
persistence. Yeah.
And then when a DM me, I think a couple of hours later, you responded. And then I was like, you know what? Here we go. Let's see
Yeah.
what happens. And I'm looking forward to this topic for today and see what we can do to change other people out there.
I think that's what energetically attracted or resonated with me. Just that energy of like going to get, like that go getter energy. I respect it. I feel
Right.
like I have it in me. And I feel like this is exactly the type of inspiration the world needs more of. It's like whatever the world hands you, you just take it and you
That's
turn
right.
it into your gold, right?
That's right. That's right.
And okay, so let's start with, I have a bunch of questions with
Okay,
me.
cool. I'm ready for all the questions that you have for today because I think that's what's more important. So people get to know me and also I'll get a chance to ask you questions too.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into it.
You
Whatever
guys
you
are
have.
experiencing us getting to know each other in real time.
Definitely,
This
that's
is,
what's happening right
yeah.
now. Yeah. Okay. Let me.
So you've obviously, from what I know, you've been homeless,
Right.
and
Yes.
that was a very impactful experience on you. That has actually been a very important part of your sort of hero's journey.
Right.
So can you tell me more about what it was like to experience that, and how does it make you who you are now, and your purpose?
Wow. It's. Thank you so much for that question. But it's one of the touching
Yeah.
story to tell because it's kind of be really bring emotions into it that it all comes to a point where we say family is everything to us, right? But when so what happened, I'm just gonna get you to what happened. I used to live in Pau and I'm actually getting emotional right now. And it was just a miscommunication, me and my cousins and all that. And to a point, they just really didn't believe. I've always been dreaming big, always want to get things done and all that. And I never really believed that the life we were living that time, it's the destination for me. I believe that I could do something better.
Yeah.
So I constantly talk about one day I'll work in the office, one day I'll do this and that. And I've been traveling, going to Cape Town to look for a job and all that. There was just a holler. Fast forward, homeless life, it was not a good
When
situation.
was this?
This was I think 2019.
So how old were you then?
2019, now I'm 32.
Yeah.
So which is probably
Same
oh,
age, yeah,
oh.
93, baby. Yeah.
Really?
Here
Which
we
month
go.
are you?
June 10th.
Oh, so you older than me with a few months.
Yeah.
I'm October 8th.
Oh, you young grasshopper. Yeah.
I never like it when a lady says she's older than me, but anyway, it's
Asian
fine.
don't raisin and black don't crack.
All right,
So we're
no.
good.
Amazing. So
2019, you were
yeah,
around 27, 26.
I
Yeah.
think somewhere there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the experience of being a homeless was one of the craziest moment. I can tell you that.
Wait. Let me get this right. So,
Right.
How long were you homeless for? And what exactly?
For like 3 months or so.
Yeah. And what was the impact? What was the event that suddenly you said, okay, this is where I'm gonna
that made me becoming
Yeah.
homeless, or to trying to change
That
to.
made you homeless. The day you left. Describe that to me.
So when that happened, it
Yeah.
was not like I decided. It
Yeah.
was out of a situation. I have no option of where to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Because remember one day I came back from work. I used to work in Cape Town CBD
Yeah.
and travel by train going back to Pau. To those who know Pau in Cape Town, it's very far from Cape Town CBD. So every time I travel in the morning, go to work, come back late at night.
Yeah.
So when I get back home, I remember one night my cousins, they were all sitting in the sitting room and I could see on their face something's up, you know. And then they were like, bro, we need to talk. Before I even take a shower or something, you know. I was like, I wonder what's happening right now. And then my cousin's wife was pregnant. So with the emotions, she's the one who actually impacted the whole thing. She feeds my cousin negative and all that, and but which I don't hold anyone grudge right now because it's part of life. You know, we all learn. They've not really apologized about it, about what they actually did, but it's something that I learned that you know what, it's part of life. Things happen, and then just move on. So on this night, he's like, "Ah, bro, look, I tried to stay with you, but unfortunately, your personality and everything, attitude, we cannot
So they kick you
longer."
out, basically.
That's right. Yeah. He's
Okay.
like,
So you come home one day from work and they're like, look, we've evaluated and we no longer, you can't stay with us.
that's right. Yeah.
And this is your family. So
This is my
at the
family.
time, even though you're over it now, at the
That's
time, it's
right.
like, ouch, you're going to leave me with nowhere to
That's
stay
right.
except
That's
the
right.
streets.
That's right.
Okay. So that's
Yeah.
a powerful moment. And so
Yeah.
you just,
And then I just packed my bags. The next morning, I just left. I couldn't say even goodbye because everybody was still sleeping. I had to rush, get to work. I called my boss. Luckily, my boss, he understood the situation. He's like, look, what I can do, I'll keep your things, your bags and everything.
yeah.
But my boss was a very good guy. I mean, I respect him because he's one of the people who actually changed my life. I never met a boss like that who could actually help you into that. So he understood the situation, but he couldn't help me to give me a place to live.
Yeah.
All he could do, take care of my bags and all that. And I remember going to work, and after work, you start thinking about what can I do next, you know. And then I went to Long Street, Cape Town. I met a friend, a guy from Zim. He used to work at one of the club, and his name is Kevin. I mean, immediately we had a conversation, we connect, and then actually, I think he picked it up or something, and then he started giving me food and everything every time. It's like, whenever you come back, come here, I'll give whatever you need, and when I can, I always help him and stuff like that. So I always try not to be more involved with the homeless people, but I I used to. I don't know if you know the Golden Acres bus station in CBD.
Mm-mm.
So that's where I used to sleep.
Yeah.
And I think I slept there for like about a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then later I decided, you know what? This is gonna be really bad impact because people around me negative and all that, they're smoking drugs and all that. Luckily I never really touched any of that.
Yeah.
And then I started to look for jobs in the club.
Sorry, I just need to interrupt this because
Yeah.
this is like for me, like
Yeah.
just the idea of being homeless here in Cape Town, like,
Yeah.
firstly what you said about friends and, friends and kindness and having a boss that is kind
Right,
and
right.
not even though he wasn't able to help you, it's just
That's
having
right.
that community in a way, like how
Right.
important that is. But also, so you just took your things
Yeah.
and you just went and you're like, this is my spot now.
That's right.
And how did you choose that spot? It just felt the most
Well,
safe.
I remember a while ago. I've seen that place. I've seen people sleeping there.
Yeah.
I never thought this could happen to me, you know.
Yeah.
But when this happened, then I realized there's a spot where I've seen people. It's gonna be safe because people catch taxis at night there, so at least you can be safe. People always move
Yeah.
up and down. And I remember one night tried to sleep. I had a small bag, and next to me there was this big rats moving
Yeah.
around and all that. All I could do just open my Bible, start reading, and just say, "God be with
Wow.
me," and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then 3 months before 3 months, what I did, I was like, you know what, I have to do something about this. I cannot continue. This was probably 2 months and a half.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what, let me look for something. And it was also in a moment where I get to save some money.
Yeah.
And then I ended up finding a place to live in Philippe, and which was a little shack.
Yeah.
And then I put my things there. I started my life. That's how my life started.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was not an easy thing.
That's such an experience that really just connects you because now I feel like just I think the main thing that people forget in
Right.
society about the homeless. And I don't even like calling the
Yeah,
homeless
yeah,
because it
yeah.
feels like such a label.
I like to say people who live on the street.
Yeah, people who
Because,
are
yeah,
without
when
a
you use the
home
name
currently.
homeless, it
Yeah, it
sounds
becomes a
like you,
label.
yeah, yeah.
Becomes who you are. And it's actually
Exactly.
not.
Yeah.
I think the problem, I think, that I've noticed in
Mm.
Cape Town, and I've been here since January or so,
Right.
like permanently,
Mm.
is that it's so easy for them to be dehumanized, right?
That's right.
And then to have experienced homelessness,
That's right.
your interactions with them and your understanding of just like the day-to-day like little things like
That's right.
food or going to the
That's
bathroom
right.
or like just
That's
washing your
right.
face, like
That's right.
that's different.
That's right.
That's different.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
so after this experience, okay, sure, you get yourself out of homelessness, but how does that become part of your story? How did you choose to make that into your mission now?
So during that, I remember before I became homeless, when I was still living with my cousin, I used to do music. So I used to sing. I used to follow what Chris Brown do. I always look up to
You
Chris
don't
Brown.
sing
Like,
anymore?
not anymore. I stopped because I mean I followed different passion, which is what I'm doing now. What I'm doing right now,
Yeah.
trying to help other people because music costs a lot of money
Oh,
in order for you to be known.
as
But
a career, but you should never stop singing and dancing. What
well,
keeps us joyful,
I don't know how to
Saymore?
dance actually, but I can sing. That's one thing I can do, but I can't dance. I'm not a good dancer.
Everyone can dance.
Well, I can move my body. That's what I can do. Yeah, that I can shake it all that, but not dancing. I cannot absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, that's how it really all happened. And then I said to myself, before I became homeless, I used to be very passionate about music, and I
Yeah.
told my cousin, you know what, I'm gonna become something great. But nobody really believed in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But remembering where I came from, because I came from back home in Zim, which is in village, deep in village, and where opportunities are really few, and most of people that I grow up with, they're all still there right now.
Yeah.
So it's like when people see me like this right now, they probably think you have actually married. So what always reminds me and what made me make that homeless situation become part of my journey right now is that I remember, look, my situation being a homeless, it does
Yeah.
not really define who I am. And even during the homeless time, I told myself, look, this is not gonna be forever.
Yeah.
But we have a bright future ahead. But how am I gonna do that? And then I just always believe, and I always write in notes of every idea come across in my head. I always write down. Even like right now, I still have a bunch of things that I've wrote maybe years ago. I still look back into those notes and see what I've always planned. And then I just told myself one day I'm gonna become something. But I never really knew that one day I can even write a book or whatever it could be. Yeah. Yeah.
And the way you just said that, like, oh, some people would probably say I've already made it. You have. It's like one of those realizations where, like, a past version of us
That's right.
is like, oh, you're living the dream right now.
That's right.
You know,
That's
like,
right. Yeah.
here I
yeah.
am. I've made it every day. You can wake up and
Yeah.
feel like, oh, I think that extra gratitude of like, I even have a place to sleep is just
That's right.
something people take so for granted. The other day I woke up and I was like reading my book and it was like 11 a.m. and I was reading my Kindle and I was like, oh my gosh, how did I take this for granted?
Right.
I own a Kindle.
Right.
Or like, I have a house.
Exactly.
And it's just one of those things that you just slip by. And I can kind of imagine how grateful you must, like, I've only met you once before this, but just
That's
your,
right.
your energy is like
Right.
this gratitude that comes from you of like, let me seize life and let me
That's
like
right.
make it my own, you know?
That's right. I mean, I think for me, my personality and everything, I think that's one of the things that helped me to actually make it to where I am right now, because really brings emotional talk about this whole thing. I think comes from my mom. My mom, she's always said that the person you are define what you can do in life. And sorry, but she always say, in everything that you want to achieve, you need to develop a good personality where you need to be able to have a kindness for other people. With that, it takes you far. And I've always practiced that. Even when people say something negative, I always smile and never really feel like someone can say something bad about me. I don't reflect immediately. I always swallow it and then later only reflect back into it, because I feel like in this life, in order for me to pursue my dream, achieve anything, I have to just keep a good energy. And even though it does not really make me comfortable at that moment, but the moment I keep it, that energy of just being a happy person, I think doors can just open itself and all that. Yeah.
I love what you just said.
Yeah.
Firstly, like, I love that your mom has given you such something to take for the rest of your
That's
life,
right.
something so beautiful. Like, God bless mothers.
She's my
like,
biggest inspiration. Yes.
so lucky you are to have her. And I
That's
think,
right.
yeah, my mom's not here anymore, but there's also
Sorry
like little
about that.
nuggets. It's okay. There's little nuggets where it's like, oh wow, like people's impact, people's words can last you forever. It can, in those moments of anything, of
Right.
someone giving you negativity,
Right.
their words come to you. So
That's right.
our words and our impact on others really make a difference.
Yes.
And I think secondly, what you're saying now is about like, yeah, when you choose to be happy,
Yeah.
it's not actually about what other people are saying or their
Right.
energy at all. Like
Right.
you were saying, be in good energy.
That's right.
Actually, that's your choice, and what lands with you
That's right.
is your choice. And I
Definitely.
have the same approach, and I think
Yeah.
I tell all my clients,
Mm.
my therapy clients, the same thing. It's like you get to decide that everything happens for a reason.
For sure.
That's
for sure.
just a
For sure.
choice.
Yeah.
And you get to decide that that is part of my story.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because it pushes me forward.
Yeah.
Like the word pronoia, which
That's
is like
right.
everything's happening because it's for my best.
That's
It's
right.
for my greatest good.
Yeah.
It's like that mindset, I think, is the difference between a victim and someone who overcomes. And I think we're all meant to overcome. And it might
Definitely.
be because your mom said that. It might be because of your personality. But I think we can all, even without a mom who says that,
That's right.
even without the right role models,
That's right.
and even without, this personality, I think it's all available to us.
That's right.
And it sounds like that's the type of people you also work with as well, like
That's
young
right.
people, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
everyone can do that. Even without a mom, we can
Exactly.
spread it because we've heard it once. We can
That's
spread
right.
it to other
That's
people.
right. That's right. I mean, I think that's one of the things that my mentor always say, and people I've met as well always say. I think with your personality, when you develop a right personality, when you always welcome people, you actually opening doors for yourself, and you making people see who you are. Because I always say, it's not really. It takes so much energy to be grumpy person. To
That's
I'm being honest.
That's
Like
so true.
it takes so much energy.
Yeah.
But when you're just being happy, a happy
Yeah.
person, and then you just invite a great energy. Like what I said earlier, it's not about what happened to you. It's about what you do with that situation.
Yeah.
Because like for me, I'm like I came from a poor family, poor background, where everything comes from farm. We have to plant everything and all that. But I remember back in days, people used to say negative about it. But and then I told myself when I was young, look, I have to do something about it.
Yeah.
So which is I told myself like it's not about what I'm going through. It's
Yeah.
about what I want to become.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I think yeah. In 2019, I think there was something in the air, I think around COVID, right before COVID.
That's right, yeah.
'Cause that was also my rock bottom. We have a lot of links. We're the same age.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And also in 2019, that was when I was addicted to drugs. I had to overcome that. That was a big thing. I was very, very
Serious?
deep in my rock bottom. I thought I was gonna die.
Oh,
I
man.
woke up every day. I just needed it. I was running from all of my feelings. My mom had cancer. She had stage 4. She was battling that in hospital. I went through a divorce. I literally everything collided into one, and then I was stuck. So I think 2020 hit, and I was stuck in a house where I had to face all of my demons. And I think it's kind of similar. You were kind of like stuck out of a house.
Right.
But that's when you have to really look at yourself
Exactly.
and you're like, okay, this
Yeah.
is my life. No one's going to save me.
That's right.
It's I choose to respond to this,
Right.
or I let life happen to me.
That's right. That's
against
right.
me.
That's right.
And so it's like
Yeah.
those moments where
Yeah.
I found God. I think you talk
Right.
about the Bible.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
in those moments, your darkest times and like your rock bottom, that's when you really you kind of feel his hand, right? It's like, wow, you're caught. He's like, and you're like, nothing's can happen to me. I'm
Absolutely.
divinely protected.
Absolutely.
You feel that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
So-
unless you touch rock bottom, it's like you think that it's your control is protecting
Yeah,
you.
I
You
mean-
think your ego.
Yeah, I mean, because like so many people are in a situation, but it's about like because you want to continue make people feel pity for you for how long you are in a situation. It's tough, whatever has happened in your life, but for how long? Because nobody is gonna save. Like you say, you had to think about it. Like for example, I'm going to ask you a question. Like,
Yeah.
and when did you develop this thing of saying, okay, as an Angela, I want to start doing acting and
As
be
an
part
Angela,
of
I
acting?
love that
Yeah.
so much. To all Angelas
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, I always like to.
Be an Angela.
That's right. So I don't know if I pronounce it correctly.
No, it's good. It's perfect.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know when did you decide to say I want to be in the acting industry to start, being an actor and all that, and what really drive you to have that passion as well.
I mean, I think it's very similar to you. Probably like as a child, there's the things that you love and the
Right.
things that interest you.
Right.
And for me as a teenager, it was always films. But there's a bigger reason, right? It's like, why was it films? It was because I watched movies and I saw myself in the characters and I would cry and I'd be
Right.
connected to something within me that was true that I didn't know how to express or feel, and it would
Right.
connect me to other people,
Right.
and then I would feel seen and understood beyond my own ability.
Right.
So I've always loved that medium of storytelling.
Right.
But because of my family conditioning and being Asian and having parents who are in medicine,
Right.
it was law and medicine. And I
Right.
went to Cambridge. I did the whole academia. I was trying to please everyone else and prove something,
Wow.
when you're younger, you're just trying to get validation. You're just trying
Right.
to belong.
Mm.
And then because the universe works in such a magical way,
For sure, yeah.
I got scouted and I was in my first TV series, and
Right.
then I loved it so much. But even before then, I was going to part-time film school. Just
Right.
constantly, the calling will keep calling you.
For sure, for
I think
sure.
same
That's
as you.
yeah, that's one thing for sure. I can't hide
Yeah.
from it. Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, let's go for it. Let me take this risk. And it was a really scary thing. So I went to acting school in New York, and it was a really scary time because I lived with this conditioning that creativity is not a career.
Right.
And I always felt like I had to perform and to succeed
Mhm.
and to get good grades and be perfect.
Right.
And so in art, that's not a thing. You can't do well. I mean, you can look at like success as, are you making money and whatever, but actually the whole point of art is that you just get so lost in the process.
Amazing.
And I
yeah.
was raised looking for a destination.
Wow.
So that was really hard. I was constantly looking of like, oh, where's the bar and how do I meet it? How do
That's
I
right.
reach the bar?
That's right. That's right.
So being an artist has been so humbling because I realized everything now is art. Like, this conversation, like going outside, people watching, everything is
Right.
part of acting and directing.
Definitely. Definitely.
And I realized I'm passionate about it because I'm passionate about compassion,
Right.
and I'm passionate about like feeling one with my brothers and sisters. So very similar to you.
Okay.
Like when you reach this point of understanding that our life is precious, we only live once.
For sure.
Life is too short to not
sure.
make an impact and to serve and to connect with people and to be kind.
That's right.
And you're like, wait, I've been so lost in my own bubble of success and money and chasing material things. And
Right.
I don't know, for a while it was partying, for a
Right.
while it was dating, and
Right.
for a while it was gymming.
Right.
And you're like, how much longer can I do this before I realize that I'm going to die and it doesn't matter if I had a six pack or not?
Exactly.
Like a six pack is great also,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like
But
there's
exactly,
something
yeah.
greater.
It's
than
something greater
us.
than that. Exactly.
And that's
yeah.
when I think only this year I'm like fully deeper in my purpose,
Right,
because
right.
it's like even acting, I'm like, okay, hang on. I checking always with my heart. What is the reason? What is my why?
Right.
And because I'm not doing it for fame, I'm not doing it to be worshipped. I'm doing
Right.
it because I love putting myself in other people's shoes,
Right.
and then feeling like I can live a million lives just by imagination.
Mm.
And imagination and empathy is literally the biggest act of oneness, right? It's
So-
like I could be you. You could
Yeah.
have that could have been me.
Yeah.
I could, listening to your story and being
Right.
like, wait, that could have happened to
Right.
me. What would I have done? I would have probably
Right.
found a kind homeless man and asked
Right.
him to protect me.
Right.
I would have first found a man because I would have felt too vulnerable.
For sure, yeah, yeah. But I mean, like, if I can maybe understand correctly, like, did you went to school to become an actor, or how did you go by getting to do that?
Yeah,
and,
so as I
because
mentioned,
like
I
a
went to
young
New
person
York,
out there might
yeah.
be listening, might be say, look, one day I want to become an actor, or she really, or he
Yeah.
he dreams to become an actor. What does it take to become an actor? For you, did you
Yeah.
start about it, or how did it happen, or maybe
So
somebody
I think
invite you?
Everyone has a different path. So as I mentioned, I went to New York and for acting school in 2019.
Right.
But I actually think acting is the craft of life. It's not like let me act and now I am acting. It's more
Right.
like let me tap into something that's already real inside me, and let me
Right.
truly like, okay, this character is being abandoned.
Right.
Let me tap into an emotion of when I felt that.
Right.
And so that story I can resonate with it, and it makes sense. It means something to me.
Right.
And I think everyone can act. It's just a matter of training. So I think just starting by people watching, taking notes of how different people interact.
For sure.
I think it's not so much about the fancy education, and it's
Right.
not so much. It's just about does it actually set you alive? Are you doing it for the right reasons? Is it your passion because you wouldn't mind that it's a difficult career and it's hard to
Right.
make it, and you don't
Right.
mind that maybe you're not financially stable?
Right.
And if you're okay with all of those things and it's still aligned for you,
Right.
then trust, because the universe, God doesn't put a desire in your heart unless
Right.
you were meant to achieve it.
Right.
And then I think once you commit to being your highest calling, the universe will always support you. Have you noticed that?
No, for sure. That's actually been happening to me, because it's like the work you put, and if you like, for me, I believe like the work you put, believe in God and the universe. It's like if you put a positive energy and positive good things comes to you.
Yeah.
So it's like when you say I'm going to make it, you're going out there and say today I'm going to look for a job, for instance, and you believing that today I'm going to make it. And for sure, you might not get the job you want, but you probably get something, so the positive energy, the positive information or results comes after.
Yeah.
So as for you, I mean,
Well, I
like,
also wanted to add there
yeah,
that, like, like, I think it's really important for young people, especially, not to box themselves in, right? Because
right,
as a young person, I was like, okay, this is my path, or this is my path, and I would
right,
always be like, wait, but I like teaching,
right,
but I like economics, kind of like you when you're like, I love music or
you're right,
whatever,
yeah,
but actually. We can be all of it, because I don't feel like just an actor. I'm also a
for
therapist.
sure,
I'm a breathwork practitioner. Now we're speaking. I
right,
think
right,
we all speak. We all write. We
that's right,
all have a voice. We all have to experience
right,
movement, and
right,
and we are all actually coaches in some way of what we overcome.
for sure,
So I think instead of choosing a path and going for that, just follow. I would say my biggest advice would be like to follow whatever
right,
sets you
right.
alive in that feeling.
So, as to become an actor, is it
Yeah.
like, for example, in Africa? In Africa, we have a different languages that we speak. English is not our first language, right?
Yeah.
So, there might be a young boy who might not know how to speak English, or a young boy or a young girl who maybe speak English but not really much. So, they maybe want to know: does it require to speak English fluently, or what can you say about that?
You know
Just
what?
to give, yeah,
I would love to see more African films subtitled in
right,
English that showcases like local culture and
right,
local history,
that's right,
because I think that we've been around Hollywood for so long,
right,
and now that we've, sort of become more of a streaming culture,
right,
there's international films. Some of the most popular films now are Korean, right?
yeah,
And some of them are, like foreign
for
language
sure,
films.
for sure,
So I think I would say that learning English is great and beneficial if
for
you
sure,
want to
for
work in
international,
international films.
yeah,
Yeah, and there's
yeah.
more opportunities currently, but also I think it's our responsibility to make our own
Yeah,
opportunities and
right,
films.
right.
Yeah.
Is there any role model, somebody you've been really say this is my inspiration, someone who I've always looked up to,
I
and
love
this
that you've turned
person?
this fully on me, even though I haven't
I mean,
finished your section yet,
it's
Saymore.
okay.
I'm
I just
still
want to
on.
get to know you too. Like,
I'm
really,
only
you
on
didn't give me a
question
chance.
one.
Okay, okay. You can ask me a question. I don't mind. I'm all yours. Ask me a question. All
Well,
right.
I'm gonna turn that same question back at
Okay.
you, which
Okay.
is, you said, you know, about young people looking
Right.
to be an actor.
Right.
Okay, but as an author and a speaker, what
Right.
message do you hope your story carries to young people?
As an author and a speaker,
Well, as Saymore,
as Saymore.
what
Okay.
what is your message to young people? What do you hope that a young person meets you and goes, light bulb moment?
Right. So as for me, my message always is a message of hope,
Not
resilient.
fear.
No, no,
You're
no,
not
no.
out there
It's a message of
spreading
hope.
fear.
Yeah, I give positive messages. It's a message of hope, resilience, and also teach about confidence, self-esteem. Because I do remember back when I was in village, it's
Yeah.
like opportunities are few, right? So, and there's so many, like even recent event I went to, young people, some they're very like shy to approach people. They don't know how to look for opportunities, all that. But with my story, I tell people, I say, look, it's not about what you think out there, knowing rich people, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You need to be yourself. And
Yeah.
if you can be yourself, that's what's in my book, my story. It's
Yeah.
about me delivering my product to the world. So it's
Yeah.
like whoever you are, whatever you can do, just use yourself and just have a hope that I can do whatever comes in your brain, whatever comes in your mind, just go for it. But don't wait too long and say, I'm going to do it.
My question for you is, a lot of young people don't know who they are.
Okay.
Or they're still discovering who they are. So when you say something like be yourself, if you told me that when I was 21, I'd be like, I don't know what that means.
Right.
So how would you build confidence as a young person who's still discovering who they are? How it's hard, right? How would you do it?
Well, I know it's hard, especially young
Or how
people.
did you do it? Yeah.
So for me, how I did it, I've done so many kind of jobs. I've worked in farm. I've worked as a cleaner. I've done music. I've done acting, like you as well, part time as well,
Done everything.
as an extra. I've done modeling, and which is you can still search and find my videos there.
Oh, I will do that.
I've done so many things. So what I can say is that be involved
Yeah.
in everything happens around you, and you find your passion. Because if you say maybe I love to do engineering and I want to become, it's really something that really hold us back because we have only one thing in our mind. But be involved, be part of everything that is happening.
Yeah.
Just say whatever comes. Like this has been me. I remember my godmother, she used to say, She's like, you've always been willing to learn. I'm like, look, even now, I'm still willing to learn.
Yeah.
Whatever comes, I grab it. Even
Yeah.
today, let's say if life happens, I become broke, whatever it is, I don't have a
Mm.
job. I'll probably go sell tomatoes in the streets. I'll
Yeah.
probably go
Yeah.
and cut firewood like I used to do back then. I'll
Mm.
probably go and work in a farm just to
Yeah.
survive. So try and be involved. Do anything. You know what
Love
I
what
mean?
you said. I
Yeah.
think that's the important thing. I think like be yourself. But yes, in order to be yourself, you
Yeah.
gotta know yourself. In
That's
order
right.
to know yourself, you gotta find out who you are.
That's right.
And I think that experimentation and failure phase like is so important. Like you've
Yeah.
done so many different things, and
Exactly.
you're like and there's no such thing as failure because
Never give up. Just keep,
yeah,
just get up. If you
explore.
knock this door, if somebody close for you, they can never close another door.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
one closed. There's another door that is waiting for you to knock, and then it open.
yeah,
Sometimes it's just about meeting different people. I
Yeah.
always encourage young people. Look, you want to watch Netflix, you want to watch TV the whole day, you want to play video games. But what are you benefiting? Yes, you have a dreams. You want to become a nurse, a doctor, whatever it is.
yeah,
But who say you're going to become that? We're not sure.
yeah.
You just have a belief that you want to become that. I always give an example. This might sound very like maybe racist or whatever it is, but this is actually true. For example, I give you as a black person and look into white community. Young white kids, they get involved in everything. Whatever parents do, it could be business. They get to be involved, volunteering, doing some work. I say to my black community, look, you're just sitting and say there's nothing, government is doing
Yeah.
nothing. But who's gonna come and serve you? You have a passion, whatever that you want to do. Be involved, do something. Get up.
Yeah.
When if you have to work with the taxes, whatever you can do, just do something.
It's so funny
know
you
what I mean?
say that because where I'm from, and
Yeah.
at least when I went to Hong Kong International School, the Asian kids were doing everything and the white
That's
kids
right.
were not. So I'm sure in
Yeah.
every place it's different racially.
Yeah.
But I think it's that idea of like what resonates with me is like this feeling of like be active and proactive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be like take your destiny and
Yeah.
put it into your own hands and
That's right.
realize that the only person you're gonna sabotage by being passive is
That's right.
yourself.
That's
yeah,
right.
and it's I think the one thing that is hard as a young person
Right.
is it's almost like there's everything is out against you, right? Like you
Right.
say with Netflix, it's almost like things are designed to catch your attention span, especially people now. You have TikTok,
Yeah.
and it's training your dopamine to be like yes, no, yes, no.
Have you not? Yeah, especially TikTok. Have you noticed when once you go into the app without, like, for example, let's say you wanna go somewhere right now, you wanna go to a grocery store. Immediately when you go on your TikTok, by the time you lift up your head, it's probably maybe 30 minutes later.
Yeah, it's just
Because
lose
there's
time
always
scrolling,
something
yeah.
that keeps you like, and
Mm.
when are you going to look for a job? When are you
Yeah.
going to reach out to a friend?
Yeah.
So I always say to my friends, look, even though there's no opportunities, this is what I used to do. At least you have a list to say, you know what, at least per day, I need to reach out to maybe
Yeah.
2 people, 3 people. How
Yeah.
many people have you told you about your story today? How many people have you asked about the opportunities?
Yeah. And I think that
you know-
the reason why this happens is because firstly people don't have maybe teachers like when I was in high school I had these teachers constantly giving us tips on how to do things like what
Right.
you're saying like how to be proactive
Right,
and not having role models
right.
to be like, oh, what
Yeah.
else could I be doing? If all of your friends are watching Netflix, you're just
Right.
gonna think, oh, it's a network effect, right?
Right.
And that's why you have poverty in groups of people who just mirror each other, or
Right.
people who, if all my friends are in gangs, or if all my friends have a knife, and then I'm gonna do that too. And if
Right.
if my friends turn to crime instead of entrepreneurship, why would I break away from? And it's such a collective
That's right.
responsibility.
That's
I think
right.
it's like we forget that actually it's not that you're lazy. Don't take it on you to realize you're lazy. It's just that
Mm-hmm. Right.
you haven't been shown a
That's
different
true.
way. And once
Definitely.
you're shown, I believe
Yeah.
everyone will choose what's
I mean,
right, what's
yeah.
better for them.
Absolutely true. Because, like, for example, having a friend, there's nothing wrong with having a friends. But one thing you should remember as a young person, if you're 15, 18, is still in maybe primary, high school, and
Yeah.
college, the time will come when you will have to face your own life. You know what I mean? Because what you do with the friends is great to hang around with the friends, but you need to always remember what is that am I doing about my life? Because
Yeah.
everything that happens, whatever you do every day, you are doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for your friends. Spend time with your friends is a great thing. Go in club, do whatever you want to do, whatever comes to your mind. It's fine, be part of the friends. But remember, is this really benefiting me? Am I impacting my life? Am I developing? Am I changing?
Yeah.
What is that am I doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I said to someone once, I would say, look, be careful. You might end up live someone's dream, and
Mm.
you think you're living your dream. There's
Mm.
nothing wrong. Be around friends, hang around,
Mm.
but you must have your own dream. What is
Mm.
that you want to become?
Yeah.
Because now you have a rich friends hanging around. They say, "Let's go and drink. Let's go party." You
Yeah.
said, "Oh, they buy me booze and stuff." But you're living someone's dream. How about your dream? When are you going to start work on it?
And the worst part is you're probably like, if you're in that life, you realize when it's too late and it's, well, I don't think it's ever too late, but you might wake up one day and you're 80 and it's a much heavier realization that you spent
That's
so
right.
many years of your life pleasing other people, living other people's dreams, and never actually following. And I think the price of being so disconnected from yourself, actually, with my clients, I always see that it comes out, the energy comes out in different ways. Like you might end up overeating, you might have a drinking problem,
Right.
because you're out of alignment.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel
Yeah.
a lot of pain.
That's right.
And you're gonna numb it and cope with it in
That's
all
right.
sorts of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you know what really happens most of the times, especially in our black community, if I may look into it, because I always like to focus on that, but which is not only people in the world, right? Because on this, what we are doing, people probably watching, could be any race, But what I'm trying to say from my experience, where I came from, is that in our communities, it's not really about what government should do, because people have an expertise like right now. For example, you mentioned about the clients and all that. This is what happened in my sessions with I do life coaching. So young people, they have so much choice. For
Yeah.
example, in South Africa right now, there's a high rate of unemployed, probably like about 45% youth
Wow,
unemployed
that's
right now.
high. Yeah.
Right. So, but yet, maybe college, university where you attend, they are offering you, they're
Wait, do you
giving
know
you
what age bracket it counts as youth unemployed?
probably, because when you talk about a youth, we can't talk about 15 years old. 15 years old, they're still in school.
Yeah.
When they say unemployed youth is probably from 21,
Yeah.
18 to maybe 30.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And which is really bad. But now, when there's opportunity comes, like many colleges and universities, they always give them like maybe internships, like maybe it could be in a hospital, it could
Yeah.
be anything.
Yeah.
There's always have a choices. Like one of the college I went to recently, when I had a talk, before I spoke to the principal, he said, "Look, we're having a problem with the youngsters. They don't want to take opportunity to want to give them. We're really having a problem with it." I was like, "Look, they don't realize how bad this economy is right now." But we don't want to talk about economy. We're not talking about economy today, but it's about.
We talk about everything today.
That's right, but we need to focus on the personal growth and what youth could do to use for themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
What advice would you give a young person who feels stuck and doesn't know their next step?
that's a great question, and thank you for that. So I look to my younger self. So being stuck, it's normal. I don't want to say it's okay, because when I say it's okay, I'm giving a comfort, right? It's normal, but relaxing and remaining in that's a bad situation. So you are stuck. What is that you feel like you're stuck? Are you stuck in your education? Is it about maybe work wise, whatever it could be? Have you tried to speak to a neighbor? Have you tried to speak to mom and dad? If mom and dad cannot maybe listen to you, what I would say, this was me. I've always looking to neighbor people like a role models, people who are doing business, approach, say, look, this is what I'm trying to do. But when you say stuck, obviously they probably don't think about that. But one thing I want you to know, if you're stuck, remember your life depends on you.
Yeah.
If you remain in that situation, if you don't do anything about it, no one is gonna change it.
Yeah.
You need to do something.
Yeah.
These days life is made easy. There's an internet. Search about something. If you feel like you're stuck, just try and do something. You know what I mean? But if you don't do anything about it, that's what I'm gonna say to you. Your life is in your hands.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna come and save you.
I love what you said, because sometimes it's like any step, anything is better than nothing. Take
Exactly.
a step. It doesn't need to be in the right direction, and
Exactly.
then go from there. But also what you said about asking your neighbor, like look at who is in the position that you
Right.
want to be in,
That's right.
and then ask for wisdom, ask for
That's
advice,
right.
because everyone's your teacher.
That's
right?
right.
It's like
That's right.
we don't realize that everyone is the school of life.
That's right. That's right.
We can just ask for tips, ask for
right.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the same as for me, like, working with the homeless people, I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Because when you speak to homeless people, I find out that there's so many of them, they have probably like maybe they've studied some, they have a degrees and all that. But just having a conversation with a random people, this is what I usually do. For example, let's say I feel like I'm going through a lot, it could be a relationship, whatever it is. I choose to speak to anyone. I'll say like, "Hi, what's up?" What do you think about? I'll just give an example, but obviously, end of the day, you will realize this is really direct to me. But by me saying this, it's actually making me feel better because asking someone, a random person, this look, what do you think about this? If you want maybe people to know that you are stuck, you maybe give an example. Say, look, let's say hypothetically speaking, you are in a situation, this and that. What can you do to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So by saying that, one person might ignore you, but somebody might listen to you, and someone
Yeah.
might care and say, "Look, it's okay to feel like that,
Yeah.
but it's wrong when you remain in that situation. Look, this is what you need to do. Just reach out to someone."
And when you are a young person who doesn't feel like you have anyone you can reach out to, because I think some people feel very isolated, right? Some people,
I know.
especially, I think it's easy to say, hey, have hope. But, especially I think with men, like depression can be such an isolating journey, like especially for young men, like
Yeah.
male suicides are
A lot.
such a big issue.
A lot.
So what would you say to people who feel like there's nobody?
So this is one thing. You cannot say there's nobody to speak to. This, I would say, maybe because look, for example, right now, if I feel like I'm stuck right now, I might not know you, but just get up in your house, probably take a little walk, go by the beach. Even if there's no beach, just walk.
Yeah.
Just take a walk. You know what I mean? Just take a walk. If you can play soccer, just go for a run. Just do something. Just, maybe put your headphone, go for a run, go for a walk, and listen to your favorite music, whatever it is. Ideas comes. Once you have an ideas, you must always remember to write it down. Oh, this is what I thought about. And reach out to a friend randomly. Look, I was thinking this and that.
It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But walking is literally just moving energy.
Yeah.
They've shown in mental health studies that walking, because your eyes are moving left and right,
Yeah.
it's almost like eye movement desensitization.
Right.
It actually helps your thoughts move
Yeah.
without getting stuck to any thought.
sure.
It's like walking is literally one of the best ways to just clear your mind.
Like for me, my biggest therapy is run and gym. So, for example, for young people who are stuck, they're
Yeah.
probably stuck just sitting at home. Like right now, it's winter, right? Just sitting at home, watching a movie and all that. You don't want to go out. You feel like it's cold outside. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to talk to anybody. but just walking outside your gate, you probably see somebody.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
greet, hi, how are you? I know it's
Yeah.
really, people don't like to greet people they don't know. But for me, I talk to
I
anybody.
love it too. It's like sometimes I feel alone because I live alone.
You
And
know,
I'll go out to my local coffee shop and I'll
Yeah,
just like speak
that's what
to
I
the
do.
barista. And it's like,
having a conversation.
yeah,
Just
everyone can be a friend if you decide.
Exactly.
And you don't have to feel lonely.
Exactly.
Mm.
I mean, I think it's a choice to when people say they're stuck, it's a choice because
Yeah.
there's so much you can do. You don't really have to go to therapy. Yes, you can go to a therapy, but it's one thing I can tell when you feel you're stuck, just get up.
And it sounds unsympathetic. I've said that to people before. Like,
Right.
being stuck is a choice. And when
It's a
you're in it,
choice.
it can be hard to hear.
Yeah.
But if you really look at yourself,
It's a
you
choice.
realize, oh, hey, if everything is perspective and everything is mindset,
Right.
hang on, do I just need to see this from a different way and
That's
realize
right.
it's not a problem?
Yeah.
Hang on, I don't have problems. Everything's just an invitation, or
That's
everything's
right.
a growth opportunity.
That's right.
Oh, and then if I don't look at my life in terms of problems anymore, wait, so if that's not a problem, then maybe this isn't a problem. Wait, maybe none of this is a problem, and none of this is a coincidence, and it's actually just leading me down the path
That's
that I
right.
was supposed to walk.
That's right.
So
So yeah, that's exactly. But if I may ask, I need to ask you a question.
you may.
Yeah. So so this is what I'm gonna do. So for me, I don't want to look at the notes because I mean I know we did write down some question, but this is me. For example, for you do acting classes, right? Do you train or what do you do with the
What was the question? Do I do acting classes?
yes? Do you teach people or
Not
what?
yet. I'm
Okay.
hoping in September to run my first acting
Right.
class.
For now, you do.
I do so much, Saymore. I currently I facilitate breathwork.
Right.
I am a one-on-one coach and therapist.
Right.
I am also an economics teacher.
Oh my goodness. How-
Economics and maths.
How do you balance it?
I
Your life
feel
seems
like
to be
it's
very
very
busy.
straightforward. I think it comes in waves. So in May, I directed my like latest short film, and then
Right.
the next month by month, I
Yeah.
live by. You won't understand this, but as a woman, I feel very connected to the moon.
Okay.
Because of my cycle, so month by
Right.
month, it feels different based on the season
Right.
of astrology as
Right.
well.
Right.
Do you understand this?
And I'm just wanna I'm listening to hear more about it because I
Yeah.
just wanna understand exactly how you do
I
it.
think I feel like my life really much it happens in seasons and chapters. So
Right.
for me, last month was almost like a community chapter where I was focusing on my friendships more than
Okay.
I was focusing on my work.
Okay.
And that helped me feel balanced. But the month before that, I was focusing mostly on my short film. The month before that, I was focusing mostly on my fitness.
But how do you get to that level
Of balance or
Yeah.
of freedom?
of freedom of be able to do that? Because somebody, a young girl, may be looking. You can become. You probably maybe a role model to someone listening to your conversation. They're like, "How do I get to her
Yeah,
level right now?
yeah.
How do you get there?"
Takes so much courage, but not in like the let's just be brave and let's just do it. It takes so much discomfort of feeling. Actually, it takes sitting with self doubt. People think, oh, let me just take the plunge and it's going to feel good. Let me just jump off the cliff.
Right.
It actually takes moments of sitting in my room being like, am I supposed to be more productive? Do I deserve to have this much free time? Should I
Right.
be earning more money? And then doubting, like, is my apartment too small?
Right.
And it's actually sitting through those voices where you actually realize you have to believe that you deserve the lifestyle you create for yourself. And if
Yeah.
you don't like something about your lifestyle, you need to change it. So
Absolutely.
for me, I would say to a young person, if your dream lifestyle is to travel the world or
Right.
to work online,
Right.
you have to first decide, okay, I'm not gonna work, a certain way anymore, like a
Right,
9 to
right,
5,
right.
and I'm gonna have to take the consequences and the sacrifice,
Right.
and the journey to that is gonna feel not like my dream life
Right.
yet.
That's right.
And that's kind of what it took. It took a year of building my website, building all these clients, and overcoming this feeling of, am I good at this? Am I doing enough? Constantly asking myself, wait, is this a valid career?
Right.
Even today, I you asking me like, how did you reach this point? I'm like, oh yeah, it's taken work, and sometimes it's like remembering to celebrate that
Yeah.
you're on your way and you're not there yet at any moment in time, but here is beautiful too.
Wow.
So for me, I still feel like I'm on my way. I don't feel like I've made it.
So it all happened by just continue doing something. You just doing whatever. You just like something that comes across into your mind. You're just trying to do anything.
I think moment to moment, I do what feels alive in me.
Right.
And when I neglect one aspect of my life, like the intellectual teaching part or the breathwork, like the
Right.
compassion part or the creative part, I don't
Right.
feel fully myself.
Okay.
So my heart then goes, oh, I want to go to a singing class, and then I follow the impulse of my heart. I think I don't try to plan too much ahead. I wake
Right.
up and I go, okay, what am I needing?
Right.
And if it's friendship, if it's I don't know, building something,
yes,
then I
yes.
follow that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to know that you find yourself and you have understand yourself how you can develop yourself by just listening to yourself. Because like there's so many people out there who might not be able to have a courage or motivation like that to be able to do something. Because somebody might think you need to have a financial stable in order for you to get into that level and all that. But for you, I mean, I think it's something that you realize from being addicted and all that. You just realize what you wanted to do. You wanted better for yourself, and you constantly do that. It's also takes me back into because Barack
I
Obama.
think the key here, when you say better for yourself, it's almost like it's like when I separated from my parents' vision of what was
Right.
better, what
Yeah.
was good, what was even society's vision.
I know.
It's like sometimes I think, oh my God, maybe I need to make more money.
Yeah.
And that's actually, it sounds like better for myself.
Right.
Like to have more material things or a bigger house.
Right.
But who said that?
Yeah.
I don't actually need more. It's like better is when I had my self-defined
Right.
concept of
That's
success.
better for yourself.
What does success mean to me? And if you don't define that for yourself, you're
Right.
like what you said, you're just
Yeah.
chasing other people's
That's
dreams.
right. That's right.
It's like society told me I need to have a red Ferrari.
Right.
I don't have one yet, so I'm going to be
Right.
miserable about it.
Right. So I mean, it goes back to like for me, I look up to Barack Obama as my inspiration
Me
because
too.
his story for me is very beautiful and really moves me so much. And to from like looking to his mom, she came from Africa and
Also
all the
Trevor
way.
Noah.
And for me, Barack Obama, even when I was homeless,
We'll fight about that later.
yeah, when I was homeless, I used to read his whatever comes across about Obama because I had a cell phone, right? I always look up to his videos and what he says and all that. He's always talk about do something and all that. If you do something and all, they need to have the right people. And looking to his relationship with his wife Michelle Obama, she's been so like really supporting to him. And what can you say in terms of people who may say, look, in my family, I don't know anybody who have done it. I'm giving an example with Barack Obama and his wife, and let's say this young person out there, they're in a relationship, maybe a guy, he might not be earning much, but she might be having a better job, and but she wants to pursue more. What could you say about relationship and how can she balance it for them to be able to become something better?
What do you mean by that? So
Because, like for example, look at Obama and Michelle. Michelle has been supporting Obama. She believed in him, in his dream and all that. If you look into their story, when he started want to be in the politics and all that, she believed in him. But she supported him in everything. So now we're looking to the young person out there who may be listening to you now. And she's in a relationship. A guy, he's not really, he doesn't have a job. She has a job, but she doesn't earn much. But she loved the guy and she want to balance both. And how can she use the relationship to change? How can she balance it? Because you do
yeah.
therapy, right?
Well, I think relationships are a team effort, but I
Yeah.
also believe that, like we should be in relationship with someone who has strengths that complement our own. So we're better as a team than as individuals.
Right.
And there might be seasons and chapters where I'm supporting you more than you're supporting me. And then there might be a season where you're supporting me more than I'm supporting you. I don't think in relationship we necessarily count. Like I'm giving you this, you're giving me that.
Right. Right.
In order to balance it, I think a balanced relationship would be we're in this together. You're giving me emotional support. Maybe I'm giving you financial support, but
Right.
there's a fair exchange of devotion. We're both
Right.
putting our all into
Right.
it. What is difficult as a young person is that we're often in relationships with people who we shouldn't be
Yeah,
in
definitely most of the
relationships
time.
with.
Yeah.
And so you come out of it years later and you say, I poured so much of that
Right.
into another person, but not
Right.
into myself.
Right.
And I think we always, before you're fully devoted and in a partnership that
Right.
you want to really build on for the rest of your life, and
Right.
until you know that,
Yeah.
it's really, you have to always make sure that you're not over giving. I think
Right.
to balance self and other
Yeah.
is really
Because
important.
I mean, when it comes to my organization, Same Mind Safe Space, when I started this organization, Same Mind Safe Space, it was something I started with someone I used to date way back, and I told her, look, this is what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
and I don't know if she believed in me or what, but I felt like she had a doubt that this dream will never happen. You know what I mean? And that time I was actually a barista and all that, so probably people be like, you are just nobody. But when I look into barista, I don't look at them and say it's just a barista. They have a dreams. It's somebody who can
Yeah.
become something. But I just believed in myself, and but I needed more support. But I feel like in a relationship, you need to have somebody who can support your dream. And
Yes.
but in this community right now, they just want right now they want you to have it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And which is really hard. Like to
I completely agree. It's
yeah.
like you need to date someone who sees your potential,
Exactly.
believes in your dream just
Exactly.
as much as you believe in your
Yeah.
dream. And
Exactly.
if your partner doesn't believe in you,
Yeah.
you need to get rid of them as soon as possible because
Exactly.
their doubts become your doubts.
That's right. That's right.
And
It holds
unless
you back.
you
Yeah.
need to date your biggest cheerleader.
Right.
Yeah, and if you're dating someone who you don't believe in, you must leave them.
Definitely. I mean, this is one of the things I've actually mentioned. Like, you know what? I felt like, when you are dating, when it comes to dating, you need to believe, you need to have somebody who is, are we aligning? That's what's more important
Is
in a
it flowing?
relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
I say, there's a different thing. Be in a relationship with someone. Does this person really want to be with me
Yeah.
or not?
Yeah.
Because we can be in a relationship, but do I want to be with you?
And it's
That's
also
a real
that question of
question.
like, do I like what you give me and
Exactly.
what you do in the world, or do I like who
Exactly.
you beyond that, beneath that,
Exactly.
like who you
Exactly.
are? Because so often I think a woman will look at a man, at
Yeah.
least in like man-woman relationships, and they'll be like, is he providing enough, or
Right.
is he where he's supposed to be? Instead of actually looking at, wait, who is he behind all of
Right.
his achievements and his effort, and what is
Exactly.
the truth of his spirit? What is his heart like?
Exactly.
And actually, I think it's comes out of a place of fear,
Right.
Because it's like, oh, I have to depend on you, and
Exactly.
and you're gonna give me things, and,
Exactly.
and my future depends on you, and then we end up, women can, or it works both ways, end
Yeah.
up being very controlling and actually
Right.
bringing out the good enough wound of the man,
Right.
when actually men feel most rewarded when they are doing good. And when
Right.
they're not doing good by their woman, they
Right.
feel bad about it. And
Yes.
actually, you're feeding him. Like the
Exactly.
person that you're dating, at least from a woman's perspective, if you treat him like a king, you
Right.
bring out the king in him.
For-
You treat him like
definitely.
a boy, you bring out the boy in him.
That's
You
right.
talk to
That's
him
right.
like a
That's
boy
right.
or a son, he's going to
That's
feel
right.
like a child.
Exactly.
And it's like if you want your man to succeed, and if your love language is to
Yeah.
help him win,
Yeah.
help him get there,
Yeah.
then you shouldn't actually be thinking at all about what they can do for you. It's
Yeah.
just about how much love can I give you? How can I support you?
Yeah.
What do you need from me? I love you so much. It's an honor to have you in my life. And I just want to be of service to you. I think true, mature love is like being in service to the other person and not thinking about what you're getting back
That's right.
at all.
Absolutely correct. Because I mean, it's really crazy in a way that I had a conversation with my auntie yesterday. We actually touched this part because as much as they all want me to get married, that's so they were like, okay, my uncle is very like pushy. He's like, yo, boy, you must get married, man. Come on, you know. I was like, uncle, look, getting married is great, but who you are getting married with, and remember, it's a long-lasting thing. It's not only for today. We're gonna,
Yeah.
get married, you have a sex and all that, but there is more into
The
it.
most important decision of your life. My dad says
Exactly.
the same thing. He's like, why are you not settled down?
You understand?
He calls me a senile tri-mid or something, like I'm too old for babies, he says.
The-
And basically, I keep looking at him and I'm like, Dad, I want to get
He
married
won't
too.
understand.
You think
Yeah.
I'm not trying,
Yeah.
but I have to wait for the right
you
person.
need to have somebody who will align with you. Like for example, in my life right now, what I'm doing as a youth coach and working the youth, doing this youth development and stuff like that. Traveling around, going every city, every country. You need somebody who believe in what you do, someone who can support you. Like for example, I would probably need somebody to say, "Look, I'm trying to do this. What do you
Yeah.
think about my plan?" Even
Yeah.
though like you're not helping financial, but being there for me, having a conversation, give me advice. That's what I need. Because for example, going to a different city, Rustenburg, Joburg, Pumalang and all that, I need somebody who can encourage, who can say, look, I think you should try to change the idea, come up with this. Last time you spoke about this, can you change this? And let's try to do this. You're trying to do youth coaching, and can you maybe try to see if you can do online?
Someone who
this and
sees
that.
where you're trying to go and helps you
Exactly.
get there. But also
Exactly.
it's someone who knows you enough and sees you better than you see yourself, so that when you're doubting yourself, they remind you of your light,
How
right?
can they know you if they don't ask you what you're trying to achieve?
Yeah.
Because by asking you, they get to know you.
Yeah, or someone, not even beyond asking. It's almost like maybe it's just they see through
What
to
you
the
do.
truth of
Yeah.
your soul, and
That's
they,
right.
they say, "Wow, this person is on a mission, and I want to support this mission."
That's right.
Because you are incredible as
That's
a
right.
human being. Yeah.
It's like the question I put out there on social media on my Instagram. I say, how crazy it is. If I say borrow me 100K today and then I'll give you double when I'm married, who can do that? So I was actually trying to say, who would say, look, I'm willing to be part of you right now in what you're doing, even though the world don't even know you yet.
Yeah.
But when you marry, I know it will be beneficial to me. And who is willing to do that and say, look,
Yeah.
you trying to become something, I'll be by your side. When you married, I'm married. It's like a
Yeah.
friendship. I have a friend of
Yeah.
mine, he's from Swaziland. We very we align. He support what I do. Like right now we're talking about business and stuff like that. It's like somebody who support me, even though we don't get to see each other every day. But he's like, look, bro, continue. You're changing life, helping youth and stuff like that. I really believe in your passion. I believe in everything that you do. This is something that we need. Even in a relationship, I need someone like that who say, look, I believe in you. What you do, you're doing an incredible, great job,
We don't even need someone to even give us advice. We actually just want someone who says, look, you got this. What
That's
are you
right.
planning to do? How are
That's
you
right.
going to navigate
Exactly.
this? You will figure this out. I know you will.
That's right.
And that's all we need to hear, right?
Exactly.
And I think also it's just this idea that, I think a lot of wounded feminine
Right.
will date a man who's a project, right? And
Yeah.
then the man's going to feel like a project because
Right.
you've chosen someone who's you don't actually think is good enough for you. And so you're
Right.
criticizing him, you're complaining about where he's not, and you're constantly feeding him about where he needs to be and how he's failing you. And the way a woman sees a man in man-woman relationships will literally affect how the man sees himself.
Wow.
That is literally, you are his mirror.
Right.
And every day he looks for your appreciation
Right.
and your worship and your respect in your eyes.
Wow.
And if you're looking at him with the eyes of disappointment,
Right.
that becomes the energy with which he's creating
Right.
like a failure.
Yeah.
And that I don't think women are always aware of how they hold the energetic container. And I'm just talking about heterosexual relationships because that's my lived experience. But it's women hold the energy, the tone of a relationship, even though a man might be a leader in the material world.
But a woman, she's actually
yeah, she creates the atmosphere, the energy. And no man wants to do bad.
Right.
No man wants to be letting someone down.
Every man, their dream is to make it. And when I made it, I know I'm making it for my family and everybody. But it's just one of the things I've mentioned in my book, say that, you know what, in from where I came from is that I've always witnessed my mom, she have been always do like anything she can to provide. And looking into that, that's why I've always pushing me and say, look, my mom, she has done so much. I want to make sure I repay her, especially also my mom and my stepdad. I really love him so much. I love him more than my dad. I support him more than my dad because this man has been there for me like when I was even little, and he has been really part of my life and changing me. I've become this man because of him, and I don't think if it wasn't for him, I would become this person. But because of him, he have actually helped me to find myself, and he has been there supporting me. And that's when I witnessed what is true love is, because this man, he loved my mom as who she is, because he found my mom with me and we're like about four, me and my brothers. And he, regardless, he loved her as who she is, even though he was not rich. They just loved each other. They just supported each other and everything. So that's one of the things I just witnessed, that when there's a real love and you just build something
Saymore,
incredible.
I can also just hear the love in your voice right now for them. And it's so nice to just have a man who can have tears in his eyes and own that. Not afraid of his emotions and his love.
That's right.
Love that. I know we need to wrap up shortly.
For sure, yeah.
But thank you for sharing that with me. I just love learning about your personal life and your story, and like all of the journey you've been on. Like even it sounds like, from homelessness, and there's like forgiveness and having a big heart and for appreciation for everyone who's been supportive on your journey. And now this book from February.
Yeah.
It's really remarkable.
Right.
What are you most proud of from this year?
So what I'm most proud of is that the step I've took, that is like, because I've really resigned from my job, which was earlier this year, and I've become full-time self-employed, and which is the one thing I really love about it. And every single day I wake up and just thinking about what can I do to change myself and to help other people, which is, I'm very grateful to have a friend who I United States. One of my friend, her name is Dancy. She's been really helping me and like, advise me in all that, and having people around who support my dream, which is, I'm also proud that I've really taken my organization to a next level where we are right now doing this with you right now, which is, I wish this message to go beyond my imagination, to reach many people and get to have so many people to change their life, which is that's what I'm trying to do right now, see how we can change many young people out there.
I love your initiative. I love that you just came and out of nowhere. You didn't even know me. You just saw me talking at an event, at a book launch, and you just went. And I think even if without this conversation, even without spreading your energy, being around it, even it's just such a beautiful thing to be.
Do you know what funny thing what happened on the day? I remember I was holding a champagne glass by the entrance, and I'm like, because James was still preparing, right? And I'm like, I'm just on a queue time, holding a champagne glass. I'm on my phone. There was a lady come, white lady, she came. So she thought I was working there. She's like, can we have more chairs here? I was like, oh, sorry, ma'am, I don't know anything. She's like, oh, you're not working here. I
get this in Asian restaurants too.
So, and then she's like, oh, sorry, she felt really bad. But what happened is that my energy that I gave back to her, I didn't feel like she was judging me. I just responded and laughing and said, look, it happens. I understand what's happening. And, after that, we just started laughing and having a great conversation.
Thank you so much for your time. My name is Angela Daytona Wu, and you can find me on Instagram at angela.daytona for acting, and The Ember Within for my healing and breath work. I do a variety of things. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. I work with young people and people of all walks of life. And I have acting classes coming up, and check me out and follow all of my adventures.
Exciting. Thank you everyone for watching. And my name is Saymore. You can find me on Instagram. On Instagram is Saymore.yourboy. On TikTok, you find me, Same Mind Self Space. On Facebook, it's the same mind, Saymore.yourboy. And I'm a youth coach, life coach. I teach young people how to pursue their dream, how to find strength in education, everything, and business wise for young entrepreneur who may be struggling to balance, to find the motive and where it's going wrong. That's my passion. That's what I'm trying to do. And I say, yo, I look forward to see you in the next episode and see what we can do to change the world together. I can't
Thanks.
wait. Check it out, my
Thanks,
book, The Journey of
man.
Global Change Maker. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.